Will the Georgia Bulldogs steal a five-star running back away from Alabama? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. And of course, I'm talking about Xavier Cruwell. He is an elite running back prospect, 5'11", 210 pounds, out of Jackson High School in Alabama. This is a guy that's been trending Alabama's way as expected for a long time now, but he will be in Athens this weekend for a big official visit. So if the Dogs want to take any type of momentum in his recruitment and get in his mind a little bit about possibly leaving the state, this is the weekend to do it. They've got one, I believe, last chance to get him trending Georgia's way, if that's possible. So this weekend is a major weekend. Of course, the Dogs will have plenty of official visitors in town. But Xavier Cruwell, who is not related to Isaiah Cruwell, by the way, I get a few questions about that. He's a baller of a running back, but he is not related to Isaiah Cruwell. But he will be in Athens for a big official visit this weekend. I feel like everyone out there has already penciled him into Alabama's class. But if he wanted to be at Alabama now, he'd be on the commit list, right? He wouldn't be taking an official visit to Georgia this weekend. Now, I'm not saying that Georgia will land him. I'm not saying that it's likely, but I'm saying that Georgia should be rolling out the red carpet for this young man because he is truly elite. He is the number 2 running back prospect in the country, number 32 overall. Okay, so he is a big deal. So getting him on campus this weekend is massive, right? The Dogs need to really sign 2 of the best running backs in the country. I think they've got a good chance to do that. They are in the top group for several major running back prospects, and I believe they're in like the final 5 for Mr. Cruwell, but it's never easy to go into Alabama and sign an elite prospect, especially at running back, away from the Alabama Crimson Tide. So while I do think Alabama is still the clear team to beat, this is a big time visit. So if Georgia wants to land him at all, this has to go really well. I know NIL is at play here. There's no doubt about that, but you know, he always talks about development, and he's given me some great quotes about Georgia too. The way they run practice, the way the culture is, it's a winning culture, and just the way they get after it, the way they produce running backs. So he's always had good things to say about Georgia when I've reached out to him. He was there for a spring practice this spring, and that's when he said, you know what? I'm going to give Georgia an official visit. So this visit's been lined up for a while. This is not something that happened over the last couple of weeks where he decided to take a late visit. He's had this on the schedule for months now, right? So he's told the Georgia staff, hey, I'm interested enough, right? I'm not a 100% locked to Alabama, at least not yet. But he said, you know what? I'm going to give Georgia a look. So Josh Crawford, Georgia's running back coach, you know, he's got some ground to make up here, no doubt about it. But this kid is special. Again, he was just a sophomore last year and then reclassified to the 26 class. He was originally in the 27 class. I believe he was the number 1 running back in the 27 class, reclassified to 26. So he went up a year and is still the number 2 running back in America. He ran for 1,964 yards last year and 31 touchdowns. Again, as a sophomore, just incredible numbers, 131 yards per game and rushed for just under 12 yards at carry. So when this guy has the ball, he is tough to bring down. He brings a lot of speed for someone 210 pounds, but he wants to run through you, right? This dude is an absolute truck. He runs behind his pads, really good lower body strength. You're not going to tackle him at his legs. You're not going to tackle him up high either. I mean, he is a tough physical runner who can make you miss in the open field and then take off, right? There's a reason this back is elite. He's got 5 stars next to his name for a reason. He had games of 250 yards last year, 202 yards, 191 yards, 149 yards. He hit the 100-yard mark in 10 of his 15 games last year, rushed for a touchdown in 13 of his 15 games, and rushed for at least 3 touchdowns in 7 games, okay? So this guy is one of the best in the country. And again, Alabama is the easy team to beat. I know Auburn's going to try to land him, but Georgia will have him in town this weekend. It's a loaded group of visitors. I'm going to have a big story over on Dawg, and I'll have a video later this week talking about the official visitors. But Xavier Cruwell, no doubt about it, might be the biggest visitor, definitely one of the top official visitors for this weekend, and it needs to go really well if Georgia wants any shot at this kid, but they're going to take a big swing because they need elite backs in this class, and he is absolutely one of the best of the best. So I expect Georgia to roll out the red carpet and do whatever it takes, basically, to get in his head, hey man, Georgia's the place for you. So definitely a running back to keep an eye on. I'm not saying Georgia has a great chance of getting him out of the state and beating out Alabama for an elite 5-star running back from South Alabama. I believe he's from the Mobile area or just rural Alabama in general. So it's going to be tough, but Georgia's going to take a big-time swing here this weekend. Definitely got to keep an eye on. But let's talk about where Georgia is at running back already, right? Nate Frazier, that's the top dog. That's running back number one. I expect him to have a really good sophomore season. Josh McCray is, I think, going to be the number 2 running back. We've talked about all offseason before that spring transfer portal window opened that, hey, Georgia needs a number 2 running back. It's not going to be Branson Robinson. He left. Roderick Robinson, who I still think could be a productive back this fall, he's just dealt with injuries, right? He was basically out the entire season last year for turf toe, which is an injury that we need to give a new name for, right? To say that you missed just about 99% of the season because of a turf toe injury, not a great sound, right? A turf toe. We got to change that up because that's a serious injury. Obviously kept him out for most of the year. But Josh McCray is a bowling ball of a running back that they got out of Illinois. For more on him, go watch what he did to South Carolina at the end of last season. That's the guy they leaned on, and he ran really, really hard and picked up some big first downs, some key runs at the end of that game against a really good South Carolina defense. So if you watch those clips of him running against the Gamecocks at the end of last year, I think you're going to be excited for what he brings to the table, especially because he's in that 220, I think close to 230 range. So that's a guy that can wear down a defense and get you tough yards, especially 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, goal line scenarios. Josh McCray is a guy that, who's going to see the field and get those opportunities. Of course, Nate Frazier is going to be the lead dog. They signed Bo Walker from the last class. So he's definitely got to keep an eye on. But again, it was just one running back in last year's 25 class. And while he's been turning heads, they still need other guys to come in. I feel like I'm missing someone. There's Cash Jones in there as well. Chauncey Bowens, Dwight Phillips Jr., other guys who I think, could take a step forward. But Dwight Phillips, speed, that's a track guy who's not running in between the trenches. So that's more of a gadget player. Chauncey Bowens really impressed during G-Day. I thought, if Roderick Robinson's not healthy, that he could be that number 2 guy, but it looks like Josh McCray will be the number 2 back. He's got experience, right? And he's played, in the Big Ten. He's played football, at the college level for like 4 years now. I think this will be his 4th or 5th season in Athens. I think it's his last year of eligibility. So I would expect him to be higher on the depth chart than Chauncey Bowens, who, again, looked really good, especially catching out of the backfield during Georgia's G-Day scrimmage. So he can help you in different ways. Dwight Phillips can help you on those trick plays, those end arounds, those sweeps, get you some speed on the outside. And then Bo Walker is a guy who's been really working hard. He's got a thick, muscular frame, who can be elusive as well. So, they've got backs. I'm not saying it's the most talented or the deepest running back room that they've had in recent years, because it's not. But I do think that if they're healthy, especially Roderick Robinson, because that guy, that dude's a truck as well. And we've seen him when he's at his best and when he's healthy, that guy's breaking tackles and, punishing defenders. He's leaving bruises on those linebackers. So if he's healthy, he's a game changer, no doubt. And you put him next to another truck, bowling ball, giant type of a back in Josh McCray. If Nate Frazier takes a step forward, I think he could be one of the best running backs in the country. And then you've got plenty of, I say plenty, Chauncey Bowens, Dwight Phillips, Cash Jones, Bo Walker. You've got several guys back there who can help you in different ways. At the end of the day, they're still looking to bring in 2 of the best in this 2026 class, and Xavier Cruwell is absolutely one of them. I spoke about other running back targets in a video a few days ago, last week. And so they are still in that top group for guys like Savion Hyder, Derek Cooper, Jay Lamar, and others. But Xavier Cruwell, again, I'm not saying Georgia's absolutely flipping him or just signing him because he's not committed right now, but they are going to do whatever they can to steal him away from Alabama, because right now it seems like he is headed to Tuscaloosa. But he's saying, you know what? I want to make one last visit, a big official visit to Athens this weekend to really get an idea of what this place is like. He's been to Athens before. You know, he knows the program. He knows the culture. There's a reason why he scheduled this official. He likes Georgia and what they bring to the table. He will be committing on June 26th. That being said, he's going to Texas on June 6th. Auburn, June 13th. He's got an official visit to FSU. And then Alabama gets the last official visit. So that is telling. He's going to be in Alabama or in Tuscaloosa June 20th and then committing on June 26th. So right now, still probably a heavy Alabama lean, but definitely a guy that Georgia fans need to keep an eye on this weekend. We'll see if Georgia can make up some ground on one of the best, most elite running backs in the country. 5-star Xavier Cruwell out of Jackson High School in Alabama will be in Athens this weekend for a big official visit. And we've got more on him and other official visitors coming on Dawg Post very soon. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you over on the website.